This is a video about ranking reptile designs. Just in case you couldn't tell. Yo, what's up guys? SonicHaXD here, and today we're going to be doing the Mortal Kombat reptile design tier list. Now first off, I'd like to apologize for the absolutely disgusting of a mess of a background I have here. Like, don't look at that. It's disgraceful, absolutely horrendous. There's a reason why I usually show you guys this background, you know, the more superior background, the one with the scaly collection and Legosi. So this has been a video that a lot of my fans have requested me to do, so I'm really excited to finally talk about some of my favorite reptile designs out there. One thing I'd like to mention is this is purely about their designs and not about their gameplay. I feel like that could be like a whole other topic, and that's really unfair for the movie versions of Reptile. It's not always about the gameplay, Spider-Man. So yeah, let's just dive right into it. Like an alligator. I promise the puns will get better eventually. So here we've got 20 reptile skins that I'm going to be ranking. I'm sure there's like some skins that I couldn't find, like in the shows or like the comics. But if I'm not mistaken, most of the other ones that I didn't put here just look a lot like his classic forms. Or heck, maybe I really did miss out on some interesting design of reptile that I forgot. You guys can tell me in the comments.
Hey guys, Future Sonic here. I just found out about Legacy Reptile. And no, just no. Oh, it's horrible. Oh my gosh. If I did put it on my list, I would probably rank it the second worst reptile skin like ever. It's horrendous.
But I feel like these 20 are interesting enough for this video. So let me start by talking about the classic reptile. Now, due to the fact that I don't want to be too repetitive, I decided to put Mk1, 2, and 3 reptile all into like one little like group basically. And the reason is I think they just look very similar, and I'm gonna just do this right here right now. I think Classic Reptile is one of the best S tier looking reptiles in my opinion. It just works, it's simple, literally look at me, like that's what I'm doing right here right now, and it just works. I think no matter how many times they try to reinvent Reptile or really any of the ninjas, their classic skins always just look great. I would say Mk1, Mk2, Mk3 all can just be in the S tier. But if you wanted me to rank them individually, my favorite is Mk2's reptile design. That's literally the one that I'm wearing right now. I like the squares thingy, and I like the shoulder parts. And then I would put it for Mk3 and then Mk1. But they're all S tier in my eyes. I think they're all just great. Now, normally I would continue on to Mk4, but I feel like I want to get some of the NRS classic designs out of the way too, since they're so similar to, well, this reptile design. So let me talk about Mk9 Classic Reptile. In my opinion, I think this is the best looking rendition of like the classic skin modernized. I think Mk9 does a very good job recreating like the classic skins, at least for like Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Reptile in my opinion. It looks great, and also it just looks really different from his base skin, because the NRS stage of Reptile turns him more into like the lizard form, but like this skin he turns him back into like a human unless if he takes off the mask. So yeah, I think this is like one of my favorite renditions of like a classic skin in NRS. Now let me get on to Mkx's Classic Reptile. So this is like a much more different version than the other classic ones. Mainly it's because he's not like a human reptile, he's actually more like a lizard skin reptile, but he's wearing the classic skin. And I think the idea is there, and I think it does look good. However, and I will be mentioning this many times in this tier list, I think there is one issue with this type of classic design reptile with like the lizard skin. And that's the fact that the classic design is a green colored shirt, and Reptile's skin is a green color. So you have two similar colors like clashing together, and I don't think it looks that great in my opinion. I feel like when two colors are too similar and they clash together on like a clothes design, it makes for a bit of like an uncomfortable look. Like you have to do some special things to make it look a little better. At least that's how I feel in like the color design department basically. With that being said though, I still do really like Mkx's classic reptile design, and I'm still going to give it like an A. But you're going to see me mentioning this color clashing thing a lot in this tier list, because I think that's one of the things that holds back a good looking reptile design in my opinion. Now I thought it'd be fun to also throw in this one. It's not technically reptile, but I think it's close enough in a way. And I'm talking about Mk11's reptile. More specifically, I'm mentioning Scorpion's reptile design. Now I know that's Scorpion, but like if Reptile was in the game, I feel like this would be like slightly what he'd look like. And also like I know Shang Tsung can turn to Reptile. So technically speaking, that is like the MK11 Reptile design, which I would put also just around somewhere on the S tier. But for this Scorpion design, I want to mention is I think this costume works a little better than MKX's. Mainly because there's like a black outline for Scorpion, so that way like the green can be differentiated. And also the skin color on Scorpion is like a more saturated green. So I think that works better if they want to do like a classic reptile skin with like lizard skin reptile. And the only reason why I'm not putting this on an S tier is because his face isn't reptile enough. So I mean it's Scorpion, I know. For now I'll just put it on an A tier. And this isn't reptile, I don't know. It's just more of like a fun little place I wanted to put it. The last classic skin I'm gonna rank is the 1995 version, which is basically just Mk1 reptile but with a different mask. And the mask is sick. I like that mask. So I'm just gonna put it up in an S tier. Easy peasy. Okay, next on the list we have is Mk4 Reptile. Now, this reptile, in my opinion, is definitely the most, is definitely one of the more odd ones. Okay, look, I'm not gonna lie. This one's pretty in my opinion. What the heck are they thinking with this design? It just looks bad. Like, I have 3 points as to why I don't really like this skin. For number one, the 2 types of reptile skins that I like are either A, the human reptile skin until he takes off the mask and it's revealed that he's a lizard man, or B, the lizard man reptile like design. I'm not the biggest fan of like human looking but just green skin and ugly face reptile, which is basically what we have here. It looks like a xenomorph reject. And let's just not talk about the skin part. Let's also talk about his costume. What is the idea here? I feel like if you made a full purple costume, it might work, but just purple pants and then a silver belt part and then like a black vest. And also like he's like, literally has white here. Like, no, it looks bad. And like the cherry on the top, in my opinion, is the mouth thing. What is that? I hate it. I hate this design. It looks disgusting. I don't know if I'm pissing off those really like rare MK4 fans out there, but like my goodness, this design just it just shouts like, what the heck is this? Like what is the idea? I know like through the midway like timeline, Reptile slowly like reverts back to his like lizard form, which is why in the next game he turns into a literal lizard. But I don't think this is like just no. I don't know if I'm pissing off people by not liking this skin, but like, yeah, it's trash. It's garbage. Down to the F tier, in my opinion. Goodness gracious. I mean, maybe they can make it work if they redesign it, but no, I don't like it. No. Worst skin in my opinion. Okay, next up we're going to talk about the controversial Deadly Alliance reptile design. And this is basically just the full-on anthropomorphic lizard man design that Reptile had. And then never had ever again. So I'm gonna say right here, right now, that I completely understand why people hate this skin. But I will say, on a conceptual level, I think a more lizard-like reptile ninja character can work. But the reason why people hate this skin so much, and they always say, oh, it's because we don't think lizard reptile work. No, that's not the issue. The issue is the face is fucking ugly. It's disgusting. Could you not have come up with a better looking anthropomorphic lizard face? The juicy eyes, the weird proportioned head, the mouth, it just doesn't work. It really, really doesn't. And I feel like that's the biggest thing that's holding like this design of reptile back. Because honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I really like the costume design. The whole thing about me saying green costume, green skin reptile doesn't work. But this one is just green skin reptile with a black ninja suit costume of reptile. And I think this costume is one of the best reptile costumes out there. If they gave the NRS reptile this costume right here, I think it will look very good. I actually think it genuinely would do pretty good. It's just the issue is the head. That really is it, the head. Heck, I wouldn't even mind seeing if they wanted to do like reptile with a tail. They could do some cool stuff with that. They could make them do like a tail sweep or whatever and stuff like that. It really is just the head. And because of that, I think it's a really, really wasted potential. And I think it's too bad because if the head looked better, I think we could potentially get like one of the best looking reptiles out there. But because of the head, it'll be in a C. It should be a D. Heck, people will say it's an F, but I'm putting it in a C because I love the costume. Same goes for his alternate skin from Deadly Alliance. I actually think it's not too bad of a skin. It's first off, he's basically naked, so that's a plus for me. But definitely they're going for more of like a barbaric kind of a look for Reptile. I think it could work. I think it could look pretty good. In fact, I think that's kind of what they go for later on the NRS phase. It's just a lot more armor, whereas this is just the shoulder pads and like a cloth underneath and like a skull necklace thing, and that's it. Conceptually, I do actually like the skin, but the same issue with what I said about the last skin, and I think it definitely is worse than the last one, so this one will go into the D. I definitely hope that they could redo the skin some other time. And honestly, like, just fix the head. Like, look at some of these fan arts out there. They make this reptile look a lot better. And I really think that they could do a better version of, like, this reptile if they really wanted to try. If you're wondering where I got those pictures, Google. Now, I wasn't going to rank this skin because I thought, oh, it's another classic reptile rendition, so I don't really need to talk about it. However, the more I look at it, the worse it gets. This Mk4 Classic Reptile skin is like the vest is connected to like the underwear part. It looks weird. And also it's not like green and then black suit. No, it's like green and like a weird dark-ish looking green, and it just does not work. I think I've seen like fan arts of people trying to make it work and that make it look better. But yeah, this is like a really bad looking classic reptile design. Definitely the CGI back in the day really hurted it. I'm not putting out an F due to the fact that at least it has some like resemblance of like a classic reptile design, and it's not as bad as the base Mk4 design, but yeah, pretty bad in my opinion. And then we've got the Shaolin Monk's Reptile, also like the Armageddon Reptile. I think a lot of people like this reptile a lot. I know the Force Snake cannot stop complimenting this reptile design, so now it's my take, and I hope he doesn't block me after I say this. I like this reptile skin. I think there's a lot of things that I appreciate and like about it. For starters, I did say I don't like the human but just green skin and looking ugly reptile design, but I kind of think this one works. It kind of does a pretty good job of making it like a monstrous kind of a look in a sense. With that being said, I still prefer like a more anthropomorphic reptile. I think like the black stripes mask design is pretty cool. It's got that like Ermac kind of a style. Now, the costume looks good. However, the issue with this costume is the exact same thing that I mentioned about the classic Mkx design for Reptile. And that's that the green skin and the green shirt kind of contrast each other. Now, at least this skin does add like a golden outline to like differentiate the two greens, but that is, in my opinion, the only weakness really as to why I think it's a solid B tier for me, basically. I like the skin, but like I think Deadly Alliance's costume would look better, and also I would prefer a more anthro face, which interestingly enough, I think I've seen some fan arts of people doing this skin but making it look more like the NRS style of Reptile. But yeah, that's my opinion about that.
Hey guys, Future Sonic again. I just found out that there's an alternate color for his costume, and it turns his green skin color into more of a human skin color, which actually nullifies my issue with the green on green thing. However, it adds a new problem, and that is the fact that I do not like the face color now. I think it looked better when it was green for more of a monstrous look, but with more of like a human face, it just looks bad in my opinion. It kind of reminds me of Legacy in a way. Overall, my opinion's about the same as like the normal version of Shaolin Monk's Reptile if I did rank this alternate color on my list too.
And now we're on to the NRS phase of Reptile, starting with Mk9's Reptile design. Now, Mk9 Reptile kind of just ditches the attempt of trying to make it look like a ninja, and they go more for like a warrior bruiser type kind of a reptile skin. I actually think it looks pretty good. I think it's not too bad of a design. Got like an interesting armor plate here showing more skin on like the shoulder parts. The mask is also kind of a cool looking. They're going for more of the like lizard look of the mask. The pants, in my opinion, are kind of a no-no. I think they should have made the pants black, and I would say this is like a better looking skin. But overall, it's fine. I think it's not better than the Shaolin Monk's version of him, so I'm gonna put him on a B, but like behind the Shaolin Monk's version of him. And then we have an alternate skin of Reptile and Mk9. Which at first I looked at it, I was thinking like, what is this like referencing in, and what is it trying to do? It looks a little too, I don't know if this is a weird word to use, prestige for a reptile. It's a little too fancy. It looks kind of like one of those upgrades that Chronica gave to like the bad guy characters, just without white, but like only gold parts. But then I looked at it and I'm like, oh, I think this is referencing the Shaolin Monk's design of Reptile. I don't hate this design. I think it's got potential. But again, this one has like one of the worst color differentiating mistakes in my opinion, because the vest and the skin are like almost literally the same color. So if I like glance at it from like a second, I would think he's like almost shirtless because of that, basically, or he's wearing like a BDSM type kind of a suit or something like that. Don't hate it, but I think it's a little worse than the Mk9 base reptile design, so I'll just put that behind Mk9 reptile. And then we have an oddball that I don't think a lot of people would put in this list, the cyber reptile. So this was a reptile design that was only in like one of those special modes in Mk9. And after NRS did that, fans were like, oh my gosh, are we gonna have like a cyborg reptile or something like that? Ooh! So it was kind of interesting when that happened. And let me say this, I think the cyborg designs in Mk9 look pretty good. But I'll be honest, I don't want a cyborg reptile. I feel like we don't need like every single ninja to be cybernized. And reptile is one of those that I genuinely I don't have a really strong opinion of wanting that. And because of that reason alone, I'm gonna put him in a D tier. Not worse than these two. Not worse than MK4. The design is there. I just don't really want a robotic reptile, basically. And now we're on to the Mkx skin. So starting with, we have the base reptile skin for Mkx, and I'm just gonna say it here. I love this skin. I think this is the primal design that they wanted to go more with, that I kind of mentioned in the Deadly Alliance skin for Reptile. The mask looks sick. The costume is black, so it has a good contrast with the skin and the costume, the green and the black. I love the bones because it makes for more like a primal design look for a reptile. Just overall, like, I do really like this skin. I'm gonna put it on the highest A. I really do like this design. This is probably my most favorite, like, not classic ninja skin design for Reptile. I don't really want to put too many S's. I'm gonna be nice and put the lowest S, basically. I really like the skin. And then we have I think it's called the Tournament Reptile skin. This one's kind of weird. I mean, for me, the first thing that I noticed about this skin is the weird, like, BDSM, like, thing he's doing, like, down under his chest or something like that. It's pretty nasty. There's a lot of things about this skin that I'm like, okay, that looks pretty good. And a lot I'm just like, okay, that's kind of weird. This skin does remind me a bit of, like, base Mk9's reptile design, which I wonder if that's what they're referencing. But there's a lot of things that I'm just like, what was the idea of this? And there's a lot of things where I'm just like, yeah, it looks good. It looks fine, I guess. I don't really hate it. But yeah, I'm gonna put it the lowest B, because that's how I feel about this skin. And then we have a skin that I think some people have forgotten, which is the Kraken Reptile skin. This is definitely one of those more weird Halloween type kind of skins. And I usually appreciate these sort of things. I think they're like the more fun kind of stuff. Like even in MK11 when they gave us like Chef Baraka or Witch Jade. I think those are fun. And I would say the same thing for this reptile too. I think it's a fun, goofy reptile skin. And I'm not just saying that because some weirdo sent me like a gif of this reptile skin like twerking in front of me. No. I just think it's a fun skin. Of course, it doesn't look that great compared to like all the other reptile skins, but I like it. It's goofy. I don't think I would wear this like all the time when playing reptile, but I'll wear this occasionally and be like, I'm a goofy fishman reptile this time. I think it's a little better than tournament reptile, so I'll put it like around there. And then finally, we have a skin here that I feel like a lot of you don't even know exists. And that is the red reptile skin that is exclusive in the mobile version. Heck, I don't even know if that actually is reptile. I think the skin is called like a saurian. So maybe it's like reptile's race. I'm not too sure. I decided to put it on here because I'm pretty sure it's a reptile skin. So right off the bat, I want to say a red reptile skin is an amazing idea. And I would definitely love to see this skin being pushed. But this skin does have a couple of problems. For starters, when I first looked at it, I'm like, is your brain showing or something like that? Oh no, that's your head. Okay, sure. It definitely doesn't show enough skin. I'm not just saying that because I want to see reptile skin. I'm saying that because this is a red reptile with like a very interesting looking Darth Maul color type kind of a skin. So I think they should have shown more of that skin part to make it like stand out for like, this is a red reptile kind of a skin. But instead what they do is they close them up, which is like, okay, if you do that, then I would think it would look a lot better if it's like purely black or something like that. But I'm not the biggest fan of like the light brown that he has on him. It makes him look weird. Like I would honestly, because I would actually prefer if they just made him look like a Sith. Sith like clothes with like the hoodie and stuff like that, because I just think that kind of fits like the design we have here. Either show more of your red skin or make him look like have a more of a black clothes, in my opinion. But for now, it just doesn't really fit. I look at this skin and I'm thinking, what was the idea? What are you trying to like accomplish here? What are you trying to show? And all I'm getting is a lot of messy like messages. But I really like the concept. So for that, I'm gonna at least put it as a C. And I think I'll put it underneath Deadly Alliance because I still like that costume a little bit more. And there we have it. Those are all the video game versions of reptiles that I'll be ranking here. Now we're going to head on to the movie versions. Starting with the 1995 version of Reptile. Not the human costume reptile, no. The ugly, horrible looking, disgusting CGI reptile. It's like, could you have tried? You literally created a creature that doesn't resemble anything of a reptilian. It's so bad. You could have at least made him look like a cute little Cabal kind of a character, but it just doesn't look like anything. It just doesn't look like anything. It's horrible. I hate it. Another F tier. But I will say this though, it's not as bad as Mk4 Reptile. So I'm gonna put it like a little bit above Mk4 Reptile at least. But thank goodness that when he turns into his human form, he looks amazing. Isn't it funny that we have an F tier reptile and an S tier reptile, both that came out from the same film? I find that to be kind of funny. Oh, and also Annihilation Reptiles. I'm pretty sure they all just look exactly the same as Reptile from 1995. So yeah, they're all just an S tier basically, because they all just look like the 1995 version. Next, we've got the controversial 2021 movie version of Reptile. And because the movie never really shows how he looks, at least it's always in like a red light, I decided to use my own commission picture because, you know, I feel like that would look a lot better in my opinion. Now, I've already talked a lot about how I feel about this reptile, but the TLDR is this is not a really good reptile design because it kind of betrays the philosophy of Reptile, which is a cool ninja fighting reptilian character, whereas this is just like a monster. But as a monster, I don't think the design looks too bad. In fact, I think it at least looks better than Deadly Alliance Reptile for the face. You know what? If you give this version of Reptile the Deadly Alliance costume, oh, that could actually be pretty cool. I'm just saying. But for now, I guess I have like a bit of a soft spot for him, so I'm not gonna like dump him into the F tier. I kind of like this reptile still a little bit more than the D and the F tiers, so I'm gonna put him in the C. Should I put it higher than Deadly Alliance Reptile? Because I'm not going to. The Deadly Alliance costume wins, but the anthropomorphic aspect of it wins the Deadly Alliance's anthropomorphic aspect of it. And finally, for our finale, for the last skin I'll be ranking here, my personal favorite reptile design that I've basically saved for last. And that reptile design is the Scorpion's Revenge version of Reptile. This reptile is basically Mkx's version of Reptile, but the only difference and the only fix in my opinion why I love this reptile design is that they made the snout longer. They made the face look, in my opinion, a lot more lizardy, and I fucking love that. I think that alone is like why this is my favorite skin. Heck, this is the reptile you see me commission the most in my videos because of how much I just freaking love it. It has all the aspects I love about Mkx, and they made the lizard aspect of him look a lot better. This is, in my opinion, the best looking anthro looking lizard reptile. It's better than Deadly Alliance, it's better than 2021, it's better than NRS. I think this is the best looking reptile, in my opinion. And if you're gonna say, well, Sonic, that's not actually reptile, shut the fuck up. But yeah, here we go. Here is my definitive list of reptile designs. I like how a majority of them are in the S tier or the B tier. I don't know, maybe I'm not strict enough for these reptile designs.
And that's exactly what Future Sonic is going to be doing now. I'm going to be lowering both Mk9 and Mkx's alternate skins down to the C tier. I think their mistakes are bad enough to lower them down one tier. They're still fine skins, but just not on par with the ones in B tier.
NRS does a pretty good job, for the most part, making Reptile look pretty good. Just a couple of hit and misses things about it, a couple of fixes that could make it look better. So there we go, guys. Do you agree or do you disagree with my opinion? Do you like that I'm a sucker for Classic Reptile and you hate me because you're an MK4 fanboy? Tell me in the comments. Make your own tier list. I'll put this tier list in the description if you want to make your own Reptile design tier list. So, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys. Oh. What? Oh dear. Well, sorry guys, but it's what the announcer says. No hard feelings.
I'm gonna bore you. Now the realm ain't putting me in their games. It really makes me hurt down to the veins. I'm putting on this mess like the YouTuber dream, hoping someday that I will be seen.